Welcome to Align, Activate and Accelerate, a toolbox of skills that can support you in all sorts of places, in all sorts of ways. Some fast and incredibly efficient, some very subtle and very long standing. Others just building on the absolute practice of knowing where you start and finish and how to very quickly and speedily align within the space that is you so that you can access all of your resources, both within your body being and outside of yourself, as quickly as possible, so that your life is a easier flowing process. So ultimately, Align, Activate and Accelerate looks at those three different perspectives. First of all, the requirement to align to something, which is really interesting. We'll have a look at that again, although I've already done a series in regards to that. We will recap on that very quickly. Activating and then accelerating the process, so developing and maturing the process of your own alignment with yourself and your higher self, and of course to that whichever you desire to align to. Because in the alignment process, you're always aligning to something, whether it is a comfortable feeling, whether it is not. So this is the recap here. And so when people say align, it could be as simple as aligning to the body being, so the physical body being, bringing yourself back into awareness and attunement with the flow or not flow of where you currently are at, and allowing the flow to come back. This could be aligning into using the gravitational pull of a deep grounding, which of course immediately brings you back into the now present space within this reality that you're currently creating. Or it could be aligning into the heart chakra, into the heart area, and into that inner space of wellness. Or it could be very much aligning the body physical in a lift, in an uplift, let's say in the chest area, so just gently from the chest, aligning up with a gentle tug and pull, and then you'll find that the rest of the body reorganizes around the concept of that. Now, I've done some amazing work. I think it's amazing because I've seen the results of it. In working with the Southern Star and Northern Star, now it's really important if you're in the Southern Hemisphere that your alignment is with the Southern Star, so that your higher level of alignment, that which is not grounded, but the other edge or the other end that is an awareness of an expansion, is connecting to the Southern Star. However, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the Northern Star that you're aligning with. And when I say that, I've seen some amazing things. Is in New Zealand, I've worked with at least 4 I can immediately think of, people who have lived in New Zealand, let's say anywhere between 5 and 18 years, was one particular lady who had never really felt at home ever since she'd gotten here. And so we did the alignment process of realigning her energy to the Southern Star, and then grounding it appropriately into the earth. Because of course, Papatūānuku or New Zealand has a different energy sense than another country. And so your grounding will need to be appropriate to your natural way of grounding, but also in contact with the energy of the earth that is underneath you. So sometimes what I'm pointing to here is that ability and capacity to reorganize yourself very quickly into the appropriate grounding for the land that you're on. And if you're for this particular lady, she had sort of not got her navigational tool. She was always trying to, without consciously being aware of it, to navigate to the Northern Star. So what we did was we helped her to navigate to the Southern Star, and to align with the Southern Star being in the Southern Hemisphere, and then to ground within that capacity. And what she found was an enormous shift that allowed her to feel incredibly deeply at home within herself. And I spoke with her many, many weeks later, and she was amazed at how it had just made such a subtle but profound difference in her life. So when I travel, if I'm shifting hemispheres, let's say I travel to America, when I'm there, when I get down from the plane, one of the very first things I attend to is my navigational tool to be in alignment with the northern hemisphere, to bring my awareness to the fact that I'm on a different ground mass, and therefore I'll have different navigational tools up and outside of me. And then again, when I'm returning home, I do the same, instantaneously reorganizing myself back into the southern hemisphere. What I've noticed is the jet lag isn't so significant for me personally when I learnt to do this. So traveling can make a real difference. Yeah. At that same point there, what you'd also be doing is bringing yourself out of alignment with the previous time flow or interaction with time, and setting yourself into alignment with the new time that is present and agreed within that land. So very simple things, but you can see how we can align it to anything. And sometimes it's taking ourselves out of alignment with an old way of being, and also an order or a natural way of being, in order for us to reorganize ourselves into the current situation. So alignment is such a big word that only points to possibility. And so when you're feeling misaligned to anything, the deeper question is it misaligned to a truth? Or is it misaligned to who you've become? Or is it because of a physical environment that you're in? What you can do then is there's a broader scope of looking into it. And then you can naturally and easily and effortlessly allow yourself to come into harmony, because that's what alignment is, coming into harmony with a certain vibration. So for example, let's say creativity has a certain vibration. For each individual, it'll have their own chord or their own way of being creative. And so if you desire to align into your creativity, what you can do is place within you and outside of you, so you can kind of have this reference point. I desire to align to my best flow of creativity. And then without trying, simply merge with it, simply like you're blending with the flow, like you're allowing yourself to stop fighting, stop, let's say, paddling upriver, instead to align with the flow of creativity, or to get into sync with. So if you've ever walked with somebody and you're in a different walking sync, you know, somebody's taking longer steps and you're taking shorter steps, something like that, it's easy enough, if you're in shoes that allow, to bring yourself into harmony with that person who's walking. And so then you have more of a step that is working together. So that's because you're coming into harmony with the rapport that you're building with that other person. So you could easily say that that's coming into alignment with the joint co-creation of you moving somewhere. Now, it's really neat to be able to actually expand our perspectives outside of our normalized comfort zone and to try on new different alignments that are not normal for us. Now, this can feel slightly uncomfortable until you allow yourself to truly go with the flow of that alignment. Because it is possible at the high level work of this to come into alignment with the flow of a certain emotional movement, energy and motion movement that desires to be expressed within you. So it's could be sadness or anger. I'm just sort of jumping to some conclusions here, but those kind of things have a certain alignment. When you align with them instead of fighting them, what happens is the flow emerges, and then you'll quite naturally take a new way of being, because energy doesn't have a start and a finish. It just has a natural ongoing flow that keeps recycling into multiple ways of moving. And instead of fighting or resisting an energy that desires to move in a certain way for you to have a certain experience, let's say feeling sad or angry about something, when you come into alignment with that without judgment, some quite magical things occur. And one of these magical things is that resistance falls away. And when there's no resistance, there's a natural ease and flow. And so you discover that without the label of anger or sadness, that there's an energy that desires to move. And so as you come into alignment with the energy that desires to move, you become aware of how it desires to move, and you become able to navigate that energy as though you're riding it easily. And then because you're riding it, you can begin to direct it, if you desire, into a different way of being. And you're still you're kind of recycling the energy in a way. You're recycling the alignment to now kind of change tack, just like a boat might, or a train might on a set of lines, changing the route of that energy and moving it towards something constructive. And then, of course, what will happen from there is there's a capacity to activate the sense and knowing that you're participating in this. You're activating. What are you activating? You're activating the anticipation and the excitement, or the energetic equivalent to that of, I'm on this ride, I'm a part of this, and I am the creator of this experience. And what that activation does is it gives more momentum, and immediate acceleration begins to occur. So the energy moves at an accelerated rate that will be in alignment for your highest and best if you have this broader perspective in place. If you don't, you'll get the wobbles a wee bit. So then the idea is to come back into an easier flow until you're naturally moving in alignment with the energy that desires to express itself. And how can we easily do this? Well, I always look at it as and I'm using the word look only as a very broad perspective. And in a way, I face myself, my concept, my mind's eye, back to have a look at myself, so that I'm seeing me within the space. And it's providing effectively a meta version, a broader look at myself. And I may actually then have a look from outside of myself at myself looking at me. What this does is, again, provides more variety in the perspective that's available, so that my perception can become aware of that which it was not paying attention to before. And often just in the process of doing that, and you probably did it along with me when I was suggesting it, you'll feel a sense of expansion occur, a release from a sticky way of being. Yeah. And when this release occurs, there's the capacity to be able to incorporate that new knowledge, that new information, and to point the direction back into more of a wholeness capacity. So more into the words are complete and whole way of navigating through, realizing that you are the movement and you observe your own movement. So movement here is the reference to energy moving. So there's constant movement of energy, whether it's in thought, whether it's in the body beat, body physical, the movement of the cells in your body, or the muscles, or the even the air around you. Whether it's in the emotional aspects of the movement of things that engage you or repulse you. It's all movement. Are you aware of when you're repulsed from something, there's a pushback, there's a real resistance to it. When you're engaged with something, there's a real pull towards. So it's kind of like a magnetizing effect that occurs. So this is all simply movement. When we're too busy labeling it as responses that are being done to us, we miss a good part of the voyage of being who we are, the movement of life expressing. And in that contrast, what shows up is this kind of dodgy feeling of being puppeteered by something greater than ourselves. And of course, there is some truth in that. in that the higher self, the greater aspect of you, is aware of more than you're currently paying attention to. So this can be why you feel a little bit puppeteered, because you're running on half information, or you're running on a closed view of something. Now, when you allow yourself to broaden and open up the view, so you might feel this from the heart chakra area where it opens up and allows a new perspective to be witnessed. Now, what this means here is very simple. I mean, they're all just words, but a new perspective to be witnessed is noticing that which you had not noticed before. And this isn't about the mind grabbing onto something. This is about noticing the space that is around, the awareness that is available to you as and when you look into it. And in the very process of looking into the awareness, so remember these words, looking is a simple term only. You might be listening into it. You might be feeling into it. So looking into, listening into, or feeling into. And a more whole and complete way of observing the movement. And why this has come through now at this particular point here is so that we can understand when we're playing with the small dynamics and other videos and audios that I do. When we're practicing small dynamics, we can see very quickly, we can begin to understand and get a real feeling for, a felt sense knowing that the practice of the little pieces, the practice of knowing where you start and finish, the practice of understanding what it feels like to be in the center of your being, to know the flow and to how to navigate into the flow very quickly. Here's another quick little exercise that you can do. If you just bring your attention to your feet and then into the breath and breathing, and then gently rock to and fro. Just gentle movements. And as you're rocking to and fro, notice that there will be a point where you're in balance and it'll feel good. And then there'll be a point when you're out of the center balance. And as you go in and out of that inner balance, that inner centered nature, notice that you can refine that rocking to and fro to more minuscule movements. Because the desire here is not necessarily to sit only in the center. Yes, that's a beautiful dynamic space to be. But in this exploration and play, you're navigating to the edge of it and then back into it. And you'll find that the center will refine and refine and refine and refine as you bring your awareness into the refining and the deeper knowing and knowledge of how to navigate into the field of your inner alignment. Because is it this millimeter that you're moving that is really the aspect of it? No, that's a very gross physical aspect in play there. The initial movement is acknowledging the physical component. And as you refine the movement, it goes down to the mind, so a higher vibration, and the energy and motion, just a little bit before the mind, sorry. And then as your awareness refines and looks to the more microscopic versions of it, you begin to notice that it's all vibration. It all has a sense and feel. And there is still movement inside of that vibration. And there's still space. And because of the magnificence of who you really are, you're aware of the movement and the space. And this is what happens when you refine the capacity within yourself in order to play within the field of all that's available to you. You can certainly activate and accelerate. You could activate into one of the vibrations that is desiring to be witnessed by you. And in doing that, you'll become more and more aware of other vibrations that are at the same frequency as that particular vibration. So it's kind of like tuning into the chord of G, let's say. You're tuning into a certain vibratory rate. What you can do here is let the body sense, begin to feel that. Give yourself time and space because of the physical location that we do have to receive feedback of what it feels like at a felt sense level to be in harmony with that vibration. And then it's just as easy to bring yourself out of that vibration and notice the difference. Now, they're very subtle differences, but this is the play, is building the repertoire, building the dictionary of exploration in the more subtle fields that are always present in your space. Without a doubt, they're always there, whether you're paying attention to them or not. And so the quietening of the mind and the tuning in to the within fields of thyself, of use of you, begins to realize the manifestation process of how you're creating and putting yourself together and where your awarenesses are. And this is always, in all ways, affecting what you are currently calling the life that you have. And there's so much to talk about in there, but this is not the space or place to do it. So in this Align, Activate and Accelerate workshop just today, we're just going to keep it short, just on the basis as this is a really good reason to play in meditation and to refine and keep refining your capacity and abilities to witness the changes. If you're a practitioner or if you're a energy worker, this will help no end in your ability within yourself to work with other people at far more refined levels. If this is for the field of play within your own life, what you'll do is you'll notice that the process of being in the space of your own field and being playful in it allows you to unstick yourself from the attachments of things that don't matter so much, although we've been making them matter, right? Some of the more physical, gross aspects of life in the material form and world that we've made so much meaning around, that we've attached ourselves to them and think that we are this identity. When you play with more of the high vibrational fields that are available, those grosser densities have less attachment, and what happens is you seem to navigate and move through life in quite a different way. Are they still present? Well, yeah, there'll still be some physical aspect in your life that there'll be some level of response to, but it's not so gross, not so large by comparison. Or if it is, then you get to experience that large, gross pull and tug magnetic force that you have provided so much of a story around that you're kind of feeling puppeteered. Can you see how it works? So in a sense, because of the attachments, the energy meaning making that you've made around it, you begin to see how your puppet strings are being pulled in regards to those attachments. And what's beautiful about this is when we become aware of them, rather than making more story around it, what we can do is observe and witness the process itself, the process of the movement between and the isolation of. And soon enough, when no judgment, or when judgment is no prejudices in place, you'll discover that this seems to dematerialize. It seems to disintegrate in its meaning making as you disintegrate in your meaning making around it. And effectively, more energy is available to be recycled within the flow that is you. Because in essence, when there's an attachment to something, there's an alignment with it, right? There's an alignment with this vibrational frequency. As we allow the flow to take place, energy loosens up and will begin to take its natural flow and course. And the results of this can be quite simple. You just simply have more energy available, which is always there. But isn't it beautiful that there's this sense in the meaning-making experience that we have more energy available? Ultimately, what it is, we have the capacity to use the energy that is available to us in an effortless way, knowing that we are the flow of the energy and the movement, and that we're not all at the same time. So inviting you to align into the knowledge, knowing, and experiential play within all of those things that have come out today. I'm Karen Janelle Davis. I love providing information, experiential learnings, experiential play, ideas and theories that when practiced can make a true difference the way that we're moving through life. For we are magnificent beings in the truest form, in the truest way. And this is Align, Activate and Accelerate. For today's play, I'll be doing another one next month, and there would have been one a previous month before. So there's certainly a variety of different information that comes forward in the experience of exploring alignment, activation and acceleration as a practice, learning, playing in the field that which is you. So have fun. Love to hear from you. Love to know of your experiences. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I may be able to answer them. I'll certainly be able to point you into a direction, that's for certain. And look, if this is useful to you in any way, if you have groups that you'd like to share this in, I've made this public, this particular one, so feel free to share to other sources. And yeah, just love to hear from you. Thank you very much. Have the most amazing day.